Video. I'm here joined by Helen, our community manager. We're going to dive into some statistics today, and these are probably going to shock a lot of you. In fact, I'm confident they will, because I did a poll on my Instagram story last night, and not one person, I'll show you in a minute, not one person got the right answer, which is shocking. So we're going to be talking some statistics around business, around starting businesses, around failure rates and success rates and things like that. But before we do that, let's just check who's here. Let us know in the comments who's here. How are you doing? Happy Easter. Is it? Are we officially Good Friday now? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Terrible with me bank holidays. It could be Christmas Day for all I know. I'm useless. But happy Easter, everyone. How's your Easter looking, Helen?
Do you know what? It's going to be nice. I'm spending today with family. And we're like having a bit of a get together, so that'll be really nice. And then obviously chocolate, even though I'm on a diet, because I get yourself off the hook sometimes.
Well, diets don't count when it's Easter, right? That's how it works. Welcome everybody. Just let us know in the comments who is here. How are you today? How is your Easter looking? Would love to know how everyone's getting on. Okay, let me just check. Are we actually live on Facebook? If you're on Facebook, let us know if you're here. If you're on Instagram, let us know you're here. I can see, okay, we're on Facebook. I can see we've got Carol, we've got Jen. Woohoo! Hi, everybody. Let me just... Again, here we go. I can see, yeah. And Jen says, Helen, your hair is beautiful. There you go. And just to say, I did compliment Helen as well, but I did it before we went live, didn't I? Think, Matt, compliment the woman for God's sake. I promise.
He's very good with compliments, actually, aren't you? Oh, you always notice these things.
I do notice things. I've been told that before, yeah, that I'm good at noticing stuff. So we got. I love this is my favorite thing about TikTok, guys. We're currently streaming across multiple platforms. So we're on LinkedIn, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, all at the same time. And the comment on TikTok is, I'm in a job interview. I need a reference. Can you pretend I used to work for you? Not everybody is the standard of TikTok. Don't you just love it? The obvious answer is no. Get a real reference. Okay, so there we go. I can see everything now. So let's dive into this. This is the interesting bit. Dan, how are you doing, mate? I hope you're good. Ed is laughing over on TikTok. Guys, Dan, I saw you voted on this poll last night. If you want to actually see the visuals, the only platform you won't see it is on TikTok. But if you come at my Instagram live, YouTube live, Facebook live, LinkedIn live, X live, any of them, you will see. But wow, thanks. Didn't get the job.
That was quick.
Very good, Eugene. Yeah, if you hop on over to any of these platforms, you'll see the visuals of this, because I thought this is fascinating, guys. This is really important stuff to be aware of. So we're going to go into this. Last night I put a poll out on. Is it a poll or is it a poll? I always feel like I pronounce it
poll, but
bollocks. I'm always saying put out a poll. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I say. Maybe I'm wrong, but it was basically asking people, without cheating, without doing any research, to just guess what do they think the statistic is for how many businesses fail after 1 year. And I gave people the options of 50% fail after 1 year. I think 25% fail after 1 year, 12% fail after 1 year, or 7% fail after 1 year of being in business. This only went up last night, so in fairness, it's still early days. We might get more people. The results were staggering, literally staggering, because not one person, genuinely not one, got the right answer. And I'm just going to show you that now. So this is just where it is at the moment. You can see, this only went out last night. But actually, 50% of people, so 71 people voted for, they think 50% of businesses that start have failed within 1 year. So they actually think that 1 in 2 businesses fails and doesn't make it past 1 year. 16 people voted for 25% and 4 people voted for 12%, but absolutely zero voted for 7%. And this just is so eye-opening, because we talk about starting online businesses. We talk about the power of the internet, social media, artificial intelligence. I speak about all the bloody time. It's never been easier to make money online. But clearly people don't believe me. People are still buying into these outdated, completely wrong narratives. I've been doing a load of research. I've been reading different articles. I've been chatting back and forth with ChatGPT and things like that. And I've been trying to get the most up-to-date, accurate information that I can. Now, in fairness, there is some fluctuations depending on whose article you read and what sort of research they've done or whatever. So none of us can be 100% certain, but I think we can be very, very confident it is nowhere near 50%. And I'll actually just taken some screenshots that I'm going to show everybody now. There's an article up there. The top left one, I think, was finder.com. That's an article. And it says there, the latest official figures show that 1 in 14 new businesses, which is 7%, formed in 2021, failed within the first year. This is up slightly from 2019, when only 1 in 20 businesses, so 5%, this is UK businesses, failed within the first year. You see just below that there's another one saying, this is another article, how many businesses fell in UK. It says 7.7% of new businesses in the UK do not make it past the first year. That is 2025. You see the article published was January the 23rd this year. The 1 year survival rate is 92.3%. So 92% of businesses are still operating after a year. I went back and forth with this on ChatGPT. You can see there, I said, how many businesses fell in the first year? It says, as the most recent UK data, so this is 2024 that it pulled out, it says only 7% of UK businesses fail in the first year. The source is finder.com, and it says that means 93% survive past 1 year, which it says a far cry from the outdated 50% fail stat that gets thrown around. And then I've said, like, oh, you can't see it because we've got our heads in way. But I said to ChatGPT, you know, is that a reputable source that we can trust? Is it true? Yes, the official, the Office, for National Statistics is the UK's official and most reliable. So anyway, you can't see it because our head's in way, but it said something there as well. Guys, like this is crazy, right? And I want to be clear, there was some other articles because I've looked into this a lot and some of it varies. There was a couple that said it's more like around 10 to 12% fail, and at the absolute top end I found an article that suggested it's between 20 to 23%, and that's the absolute worst case scenario I saw. But there's multiple articles saying just 7%. How interesting that. So like, just come back to that, not one person was it, like I say, some say multiple saying 7, some saying up to about 10, and a few saying 23% of the max. Yet the results in what people think are the absolute polar opposite. 71 people vote for 50% and 16 people vote for 25%. They're nowhere near. And the reason I wanted to highlight this is I believe those statistics this is what the statistics used to be, I believe, which is 50% of businesses fail in 1 year and 90% fail after 5 years. They don't make it beyond 5 years. Again, I looked into the 5-year statistic, and the 5-year statistic suggests that in the region of nearly half the businesses started 5 years later are still trading, and around about 40% are what is considered as going strong, right? Which again, so nearly half still trading, which the old school statistics said 90% have quit. It's just night and day, the difference. But yet most people still have this outdated belief. And then you think about what we do about helping people get started and encouraging them and supporting them, and you wonder why there's so much pushback when there's this belief. But I talk about this all the bloody time, right? Yes, 20 years ago, I say like, and 20 years ago, by the way, is not even the 1980s, right? Because I get confused because you don't realize how fast quick goes. The 1980s was, but even 20 years ago, in the years like 2005, those statistics were probably true because like the internet was still very new. We didn't have social media. We certainly didn't have artificial intelligence. So back then, starting businesses, you generally needed more bricks and mortar businesses, premises, high startup costs, even if I can speak. Marketing, you'd need to rely heavily on things like magazines and newspaper articles that you'd pay for, billboards, maybe television adverts. You'd need team and staff, and like there's such easy ways of making money now, of having a lean business because of social media. And I talk about this all the bloody time, but the statistics back this up. I also drew upon some statistics that I've not brought forward about side hustles. More than ever, people have now got a secondary income from a side hustle they've started themselves. I just really want to make people aware of the truth, and not, most people have just bought into this rhetoric, this narrative that the media have maybe pumped, and a lot of people have heard over the years, and it's just not true. That's an old school world that has ended. So I know you've got some questions for me, Helen, that you're going to ask, but any thoughts, anything that stand out for you? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so many thoughts. I think number one, the main one is like, it's easy to see why people are so deterred and self-doubt so much. And, especially people that have come from kind of like working class backgrounds like we have, that haven't been around business. And then you see statistics like that and you think, well, I don't stand a chance kind of thing, and just write themselves off, when actually those statistics aren't true. And then I think the other side of it as well is like, what I was thinking when you were talking about the 50% fail after, like, well, don't fail, but only 50% survive beyond 5 years, was that, but how many of those have gone on to something bigger and better? Like, how many of those have dipped the toe in, started a business, learned a lot, and then closed that business to start a different business? Do you know what I mean? So even that, there's got to be nuance there as to, have they just thrown in the towel? I doubt it, to be honest. I don't know, but there's definitely...
Yeah, it's a great point. And I think as well, like, because again, to give as much nuance and thought as we can, this is all businesses. And obviously more than ever, people are starting online businesses. If you just took how many restaurant businesses fail in a first year, you probably are still looking at 50%, maybe even more. So this is something that I'm so keen to get across as well, is be really mindful of, if you are going to get into starting your own business or side hustle, what is the business model, right? Because the reason those statistics have changed drastically is not because businesses that struggled before are suddenly finding it easier. It's because there's different models now. There's different ways of doing businesses. I actually think statistically, for a lot more of the in-person brick and mortar style businesses, I actually think you're going to get more failures, more closures, more long-term brands that have been around forever on the high street and so on closing down. So if you was just to, actually that'd be interesting research we should do, is to look at just those statistics versus online businesses. I bet it's, online businesses, it's like 1% are still trading after a year or whatever, versus the old school, more in person, you might be looking at 50% have failed. I don't know, but we've got to understand there's a new way of doing business, and the barrier to entry is way lower. The startup costs, the risk, because everyone talks about risk. There isn't any real risk. Like, what's the risk of starting a membership? You might spend a bit of money on the software, do a bit of social media marketing. Maybe you'll run some paid ads if you want to. You don't have to. So you might spend, I don't know, a few £100 at trying something, at giving something a go. It doesn't work, and you just decide to quit. Like, they still have those outdated rhetorics, don't they? Those narratives of business is really risky.
Yeah.
Right? What are we risking? Yeah. A little bit of money to try and do something better with our lives. That's a risk. Anyway, let us know in the comments. What are you thinking? Did you know these statistics? I mean, if you voted on my poll, you clearly bloody didn't. But yeah, let us know what you're thinking. I can see over here, can I say, in the restaurant I was supplying with cakes, only survived 5 months, then went bust and had to close. Yeah, that's a restaurant business. These are incredible odds, says Jen. Gary Thomas is here. Hey, man, that's over on Facebook. Yeah, let us know your comments. What are your thoughts on this? Does this give you, is this a shock? Is this something you wasn't aware of? Does it give you a little bit more hope that actually this is something you should take a bit more seriously in a 2025 world? I'd love to know your feedback. Now, what I'm not always sure I'd love to hear is your questions, Helen, because I don't put the spot and grills me. But yeah, what have you got for me? What do you think of the questions that we can just go a bit deeper on?
So first of all, I think let's start with, I mean, it's incredible that it's only 7% that don't survive the first year. But what factors do you think cause those 7% not to survive the first year? What have you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, the first one would be going back to what I was saying then, which would be the type of business in the wrong market or the wrong timing, or, you know, there is businesses that absolutely are going to be really bloody hard to make profitable. And especially now with the increase in so many costs and minimum wage, national insurance has increased for people over £5,000, things like that. So if you've got businesses will also have overheads and, you know, more in-person business. So I would say straight away, the right business model is really imperative to whether you're going to succeed or fail. And then I would say a lot of it then just comes down to the individual's abilities, mindset, and skill set. Because if you want a get rich quick, that's probably going to mean you fail and quit after 6 months to 12 months. If you're not willing to spend time building relationships and building a brand and things like that, again, you know, that's not going to work. And also just general work ethic. I think there's a lot of, well, go on then, this make money online, this side hustle, that should just be money easy then, if what you're saying. So I've never said that.
No.
But that you still have to work really, really hard. But what you can do is, if you put in the hard work up front, you can build a model where over time you can adapt it so that you're not always having to put in loads of hard work. You know, now I always want to make it clear, the position I'm in right now, I don't really have to work. I'm earning thousands of pounds every single month from a business that I started 15 years ago. You know, what we do with Success School, I've asked Helen to come on board and help with that. I don't need Helen to just keep the membership going and but where I'm at right now is I choose to go bigger because I see the impact, the potential, and I'm driven and fulfilled by growing it and going bigger. Not everybody has to do that. People will see me working really, really hard. And right now we're working harder than ever because we're right in the middle of our current big launch that we've got coming up in 9 days' time. But I'm making thousands of pounds a month without doing any of that. And those thousands of pounds cover all my bills, my mortgage, and there's money left over for me to have fun that literally requires me. It's basically semi-passive income. It requires me to do a couple of Zooms a week. That's it. And even if I don't do a Zoom, it's not the end of the world. So I am in a really privileged, lucky position, but I've worked at it for years. And there was the upfront work that now means I don't have to work as hard. Because I'm bloody mad, I choose to work as hard, right? Because there's more to life than just earning good money and chilling. Like, I'm fueled by the impact and the people we can help and what we can do. So yeah, I think it's people aren't wanting to play the long game. People want a quick fix. They've got the wrong business model and they've got the wrong advice. I would say usually, other than the wrong people around them. A lot of the time, it's usually a combination of or one of those things that will determine why it fails. Don't know if you've any thoughts or anything you've noticed from what we do and who we work with.
Yeah, I think definitely that. And I think as well, like just having sort of like an idealistic view of how things would pan out and then being shocked when it's not quite that straightforward or easy. I think you see a lot as well. You know, people, it's sort of like learning to manage your expectations, which again kind of comes back to what you touched upon in terms of mindset. And having that mindset of understanding that, do you know what, like you always say it's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. It's that kind of thing, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Sorry. Yeah, that's exactly what I say. And the thing that makes it not easy is generally our mindset, is our self-doubt, is our fear of judgment, and it's all those kind of things. But the actual strategy and steps are relatively predictable, and that's what makes them quite, you know, it is simple.
Yeah.
So yeah, hope that makes sense.
Being able to maintain that ability to show up when you're going live on Instagram and one person's watching, I think that's where you see an awful lot of people and they're like, but I've been building it, I've been trying, and it's like they give up because they're like, but there's nobody watching. It's like, but it takes time. It's just about maintaining that consistency, which again comes back to mindset. Like we keep saying, it's a lot of mindset work.
And I would also say, not viewing the wrong metrics, because how many people are watching your Instagram is the wrong metrics. It's what we call a vanity metric. You know, how many people like your stuff, how many people comment, how many people are watching. It's not that. It's how many people are DMing you to work with you. So even now at this point, And I would say more than ever at this point. Like, I think the algorithm's quite tough at the moment. I think people are getting to the point where they're less inspired to want to watch motivational stuff, and there's general factors. But all these years later, like, my algorithm's not brilliant. But we've got lots of paying clients and lots of great business happening behind the algorithm. So I think it's really getting out of that mindset of it looking good on the outside and being more about what's actually going on in your business, not just the marketing and how many likes you're getting and stuff like that.
Yeah. So the next question I wanted to ask you really feeds into this, and I think we've touched upon a lot of it already, but it's, do people give up too easily because they're not seeing instant results?
Oh, definitely. I would say, yeah, out of those answers I gave, probably that's up there as one of the biggest reasons is it is that quick fix mindset that they need. Anything worth having, anything. It's the same. I always use fitness analogies. Like, if you're expecting to get a 6-pack in 6 weeks and you're massively obese, whoever's selling you that dream is a bit of a scammer. It's just never going to happen. So anything worth having takes time. And I just interviewed Jen. It'll be coming out soon on the Online Business Mastery podcast, who's one of the most amazing success stories that has worked through our program. And we were just saying, like, for months I told her not to even sell, not to even try and make money, just to literally be out there showing people what she's about and creating great content, and that was it. So for months she didn't even try and make money. But because we were building the foundations right, it meant that when she did start advertising paid services, within a few months she was regularly making thousands of pounds a month, and he's still doing so right now. But most people, like, I think she said 10 months she didn't even sell anything. Like, the first 10 months she was just creating content and building a community. And as you know, she's got over 70,000 people in her Facebook group. She had some YouTube videos that did, I think, over 100,000 views and things like that. So she was just putting the energy into being visible, building relationships. Most people think 10 months of creating content every day and not even asking to make money, not even making an offer. A lot of people won't be willing to do that. But then that's why most people never get to, like, then so quickly. Jen immediately is making thousands a month, every single month, consistently. And it's because she played the long game. She was patient. She wasn't just looking for overnight success. And now anyone looking at Jen thinks she is an overnight success. They're like, Jesus Christ, I remember you painting for the first time like 18 months ago. And now you've got a business and a membership and a course, and you offer teaching and you do in-person sessions and you've got a big Facebook group. What? That happened so quick. Yeah, but for 10 months, you weren't even making anything. So, yeah, I think I don't know, again, if you've got anything you want to add, because I know you've been around it all and been a big part of a lot of people's journey starting businesses, but anything,
I think,
willpower.
Yeah, I think that's very true about what you said about Jenny. I think a lot of the time people don't see what goes on behind the scenes and the kind of sacrifice people make, and the fact that, they do have to take time to kind of build that audience, build the social proof, things like that, to then be able to start to capitalize on it essentially and make money from it. And people don't always see that side of it. And I think as well, like, leading into the next question, actually, one side of it that I see massively, and like you've just said, I don't just think this applies to business. I think it applies to many other aspects of life, like weight loss and things like that, is the side of being around the right people, having peer support, having a mentor, things like that. I think really help people to stay the course and really help people to keep their head in the game and to get the results. And I think that's another thing from Jenny's journey, is the fact that she has had a mentor and somebody to kind of go back to and stuff like that in yourself. And she's also had community around her and people that are on the same journey, not necessarily in the same place on that journey, but on the journey, that she's been able to, speak to and relate to. And I feel like that's a massive factor in not quitting. For me personally, that's a huge factor in not quitting. And also I find personally in my own life, who I'm spending the most time with and who I'm around will massively impact whether I'm being consistent, showing up, doing the work, be that the gym or anything else, or not. I think it has a huge impact. So I wanted your thoughts on that, really, like, you know, the importance of either mentors or peer support.
Yeah, so I think, and I just want to say, by the way, if anyone's got any questions about any of this, use this opportunity. Please do. Please ask some questions in the chat. We'd love to engage with more people and answer anything about starting a business, or any concerns you've got, or anything you're unsure about, or anything like that. Please use this opportunity. I think I always, as we all do, I guess, to some degree, I always reflect on my own journey with this. And it's very easy for me to forget just how much I struggled in those first few years. And when I say first few years, I'm talking about like 7 years. It was really tough. And I would actually say, without a shadow of a doubt, the reason it was so tough is I didn't have those mentors. I didn't have the right guidance. And that's not to mean to say I didn't have support, because I actually did. I had the best parents and have the best parents ever that supported me so well. But neither of them had ever successfully built a business. You know, my mum's a hairdresser, my dad's a firefighter, and I had a business partner that really gave me bad advice in those early years, who was older than me, and so I sort of took his advice. Back then, I didn't really have podcasts or books or anything like that, so just trying to wing it and trying to figure it out yourself, and even with supportive people around you, but if it's the wrong kind of advice and guidance, the fact I guess I'm still here today and probably not in a job is just my sheer determination. That's it. My sheer work ethic, determination, and I guess inability to give up on stuff, because I am very much like that. If I believe in something, I just give it. I really struggle to quit on something if I believe it, even if all the odds are against me, even if everybody's going, Matthew, this is stupid, you should quit. How long are you going to... And full transparency, I'm sure she wouldn't mind me saying, because she was doing the best she could with what she knew and what she was seeing. And what she was seeing is it was destroying me, and it was destroying my relationships. But my mum, I can see her now many times saying, just sell it. So we've got our offices where we had, before the pandemic, the staff coming in full-time Monday to Friday, working from those premises. It's all our storage. We have dance studios and rehearsal studio. We have all our vans there. This is for my entertainment business, which is the business I first started at 19, that is still going today. And it's like an old barn, this office premises. And I can just see my mum so many times when I was stressed and I was struggling, going, Matthew, what? Just sell the barn. Just sell it. Can you not sell the barn? And because she saw how much I was struggling and how little money we was making, and how I was earning the least out of everyone in the business. I was always paying everybody else. And I had the work ethic, the determination. Even when everyone's telling me to stop, I kept going. So why was I not making more money? Why was it not more successful? Why was I so stressed? I would say the number one reason is I didn't have the right people around me advising me. I didn't have the support from people who've done it, who can show me what to do, who can help me avoid those mistakes. So just people giving you love and support, I would say, isn't necessarily enough. And that's what we offer now with Online Business Mastery. We don't just say, here's all the answers in pre-recorded modules, go away and crack on and do it. We say, as well as that, and as well as having lifetime access to that, so you can watch it as many times as you need, there's also a Facebook group, a WhatsApp group with other people going through the program. And every single month for a year and a half, not just a few months, for 18 months, you get invited to a Zoom call that you can, it's just on Zoom, so you don't even have to travel anywhere, where for around 2 hours, me, you, and all the fellow people going through that program come together and we discuss your business, and we all chat and go, right, what's everyone struggling with? What are the challenges? What do you need some guidance with? What's not working? And having that 2 hours every month, I know it's invaluable, because going back to 19-year-old me, Jesus, like, who knows where I'd be today. So yeah, I think it's again, by far one of the main reasons why people are going to succeed is having that regular, being able to talk to people that get it, that have done it, that are doing it, and that can help you ultimately.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that's, huge. And we see it all the time with the Zoom calls, like you've just mentioned, where people are coming and they'll have hit an obstacle or a bit of a stumbling block, or they'll have had a setback, because they happen. Let's be completely real and realistic here. It happens. Setbacks happen. But I think the fact that they're around other people that have faced a setback and managed to keep going, and they can talk to those people, they can talk to Matt, who has faced many setbacks over the years and kept going, I think it really helps. And also the fact that, sometimes you can only see within the parameters of your own kind of vision and your own mind. And you might hit something and you're like, I just don't know what to do and I don't know how to move forward with this. And all it takes is to bounce it off somebody else. Them have some ideas sorted. And it's bizarre, like how often that happens, where somebody's just like, I'm just a bit stuck and I just don't quite know. And then somebody will go, have you thought about this? What about if you did this? Boom. There we go. Sorted.
I mean, because obviously Online Business Mastery is a program that we launched last year, and there's a whole group of people from last year's intake still working with us and still doing these Zooms every month. And this month's Zoom was this week, wasn't it? A couple of days ago. And I straight away can think of 3 people on that call that was in exactly that position of feeling like they're failing and they're lost and blah, blah, blah. And you said it to me after the call, like one person in particular, their body language changed, their energy changed. They just seemed so much clearer, right?
Yeah, it was massive. And it happens all the time. And even not on the Zooms, in the Facebook group, we see these conversations happen between members, not even us being involved at all, really. They're just, somebody will say something back, and it's like, oh yeah, amazing. Like it's just, I feel like that can be game changing, because I know myself, I know my own mindset, I know how beaten down I can get by things. And if I didn't have that, I would be so much more inclined to give up. So much more inclined. So yeah. I just feel like it's massively, massively valuable.
Yeah, we had it in the Facebook group yesterday, where Caroline shared her client avatar, and it was so good. And then by the time I've seen the comment, Heidi's gone, how did you get it so specific? Yeah. Caroline's responded with the perfect response.
Yeah.
And Heidi said thank you. And that's the thing, from everybody being a part of this journey, learning stuff, they can then start to help each other as well by the time we even see the questions. So
they've already sorted it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's testament to those people as well, isn't it? The fact that everybody's like, everybody's in a sort of abundance mindset where there's enough success to go around, kind of thing. There's no competition. Nobody's thinking like, well, I'm not helping you because you'll outdo me, kind of thing. It's just not like that at all.
That's the exact thing that I teach, which is about genuinely all rising together, supporting each other, rooting for each other, encouraging each other, pushing each other to be better. I'm just going to catch up on a few comments. Thank you, everybody, for being here on this Good Friday. It's a very good Friday indeed. But yeah, thank you over Easter to still be engaging.
Can I just add someone else as well, while you're just looking at the comments? Was something else I think is important about the peer support as well that we didn't touch upon, is the fact that, they say like surround yourself with people that'll mention your name in a room you're not even in, kind of thing. And you see that a lot as well. I've done it twice this week to 2 people in Online Business Mastery, where I've been scrolling stuff for myself and somebody's gone, I'm looking for this, and I'm like, tag the person that I know is starting a business doing that. There you go. There's a potential client for you. Or do you know what I mean? Like everybody, and I see it all the time with people like, oh, this person could help you. And that in itself, because nothing beats word of mouth either, I don't think, in terms of recommendation. And the fact that you've got a community of other people around you who will give word of mouth is huge.
100%. And it's so beautiful to see that, like when it's genuine, when you have got people helping each other in that way. So just to catch up on a couple of comments. So we've got Lynn Cutler is here saying, yeah, Jen is such a role model. Jenny herself is here saying guidance and community is everything. I wouldn't be where I am today if I did this alone. We've got Carol saying, we spoke about that on our live yesterday, that none of the 3 of us, so that's Carol, Nicola and Jen, would have achieved anything without peer support and Matt's coaching. We all identified as the reason we all have a business. I mean, that's just such a great thing to know, isn't it? That from the work that we do and the course that we put together and everything else, there we are. We've got people genuinely saying, I wouldn't even be in business had it not been for that, which is it.
So much power in community though, isn't there? And I think it's something that a lot of us lack. And especially now, like you've said, a lot of the businesses are starting, they're online, it's people working from home, they're not necessarily around other people. It's not, it's more isolating. And I'm actually reading a book at the moment by Johann Hari, who you actually interviewed on your podcast, and it's called Lost Connections.
Yeah, I've read it.
It's an amazing book.
It's the one where he talks about at the beginning going to the Elvis thing and everybody's just looking at the video.
Yeah, and it's just so, it drives it home. I mean, it's something I'm very aware of anyway, but I think it just drives it home that, we're not built to be solitary creatures. We're not built to be on our own. We need community. And it's massively important, not just in terms of success or business or anything like that, but for our mental well-being. Like everybody needs that. We're supposed to be in a tribe, aren't we? Like we're supposed to be. So, I just think that's been a massive reminder to me as well of the importance of this. And like the ladies said, on their live yesterday, it's amazing how people that would never have stuck at it do, just because they've got that around them. It's incredible.
So have you got any more questions for me?
Yeah.
Oh God. Fire away. Let's do it.
Okay, so talk a lot about, starting an online business. It's never been easier and all this, I can hear you saying it, Matt. But let's get real. Let's be honest. Is it a lot of hard work?
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah. Yes. And I say it all the time. I never try and sugarcoat it, and I never try and make it sound like there is such thing as get rich quick. It's never been easier, right? It's never been
in terms of opportunity. That's what you mean by that. There's more opportunity.
Lower barrier to entry, cheaper startup costs / no startup costs, not needing to have a team or a premises or a physical product or anything like that. There has never been an easier way of having a business or an easier time to have a business ever. I mean, artificial intelligence, like even just going back to when I started my businesses, we didn't even have podcasts to help us, and YouTube. I mean, YouTube exists, but I never thought of it as being the thing that we all just take for granted today. It has never been easier. And at the same time, it's not that you can just click a button and have money flying in. Like, you have to work at building that brand. You have to put the time in. The key difference between most good businesses and most jobs, and I say most, there's always exceptions to the rules, but generally speaking, if you work really, really hard at a job for a long, long time, you might be able to get pay rises and promotions and so on, but generally speaking, you're still going to have to show up and work bloody hard for that income. The difference with building a business the right way is you can build it to, I'm not going to say fully passive income, because it's very, very few business models that are genuinely passive income. And for those that don't know, passive income just basically means making money for doing nothing. But certainly semi-passive income that's pretty passive, right? If you can build, for example, a fantastic membership around, I mean, I'll often shout out Ross Grant. He's been a great mentor for me over the years. I don't know how long our friendship's been going now, but well on its way to 15 years, I would say, that we've sort of known of each other and been friends. And I just watched him go from having pretty much nothing, from when he was at his job working in game for minimum wage, no purpose in life, obviously, trying to be an actor and struggling, lost his dad very young, found out he was losing his eyesight and all these kind of things. And he just started from his spare room in a council house. He just started an acting membership, and that membership now to this day has in the region of, I believe, around 800 paying members that pay month on month. I think it's £27 a month. And then he does like one-off workshops and paid courses. He's done incredible for himself because he worked really hard. He leveraged the advantage of the internet and then social media. He's built a brand doing something he loves. Now, with the sort of money coming for that membership, he actually doesn't have to do anything if he doesn't want. He could have a full team just run that membership now. It's a tried and tested process that he's got in place. He still wants to because he loves doing it and he doesn't want to not do it. But that's what I'm talking about semi-passive. He worked really hard, and I know he's spoken openly about, I think it was the first 4 years, he didn't make any money, was just about breaking even / losing money. And then the compound effect kicked in and it totally took off. But 4 years, he wasn't like that. And this is coming back to what we were speaking about before, about people, they need that stamina, even when the money's not coming in, to ever reach those kind of heights, if you want to call it that. But yeah, so, you know, you can with a business get semi-passive income. You know, right now I have one business that I started 15 years ago, when I was 19. And I have built an amazing, and I'm so grateful. We've got such an incredible team of people that are far better at working at that business than I am. And we've just got a great company culture, people that care, that, you know, want the business to do well, care about the clients that we work with. It's just an amazing team. And I'm so grateful to them. My role in that business now is most weeks, not even all weeks, because sometimes when I'm busy doing other stuff, we don't end up doing it. Most weeks I do one Zoom meeting with my team a week. And then aside from that, they might have a few questions, usually just if there is more bigger issues that they just need my guidance on, they'll just WhatsApp me. That is it, right? And that business pays me thousands of pounds a month now. Now, the early days, as we know, I had no team, no staff, nobody. I did it all on my own, 7 days a week, 18-hour days, no sleep, stressed, considering ending the whole business and closing it down. So yes, there was work up front, but today I get paid thousands of pounds every single month, whether I basically do anything or not, as long as I'm just there replying to a few WhatsApps if they need me. But they very rarely bloody need me. Like, you know, they're amazing and they know what they're doing. So that's one business. My other business, as you know, Success School, we have in the region of, and it fluctuates, but in the region of around 70 members paying just short of £20 a month. So that's just a nice little income. The course that we do, you know, we do one big launch a year. Yes, I'll still do Zoom sessions every month, but it's one Zoom session a month, you know, like, so yes, the early years were bloody hard. Yes, there's years when you're not making money and it feels like, what's the point? And it's a slog. But I would consider myself to be in a position where if I wanted to, obviously, as we spoke about earlier, I still do extra stuff because I'm passionate about how big it can go and how many people we can help now. But I don't have to do that financially. I'm just driven by that and I love doing that. But I am now very much in a position where I can earn semi-passive income, borderline passive income, which means doing pretty much nothing, still have thousands of pounds coming in, still pay my bills, still pay my mortgage, and still have a bit of money left over to live an all right life. It wouldn't be like a lavish lifestyle, you know? So what was the question? Yeah.
Is it hard work?
Working with me? Fuck yeah. He never shuts up. God, I did a mad tangent again. But yeah, I just want to try and give as much.
No, you're right. You're right.
Into the reality. And yes, it's hard. And don't write off what that hard work equates to versus maybe putting that same hard work in other areas that doesn't necessarily equate to that. And that's the quicker way of saying what I just waffled on about, basically.
Couldn't agree more. And, you know, employment, you have to work hard as well. You know, like, whatever you're doing, you have to work hard. And I think it's reframing things, isn't it, into, you know, if you wasn't employed and you was going to your job, you'd be working 8 hours a day. So yes, you might be working 8 hours a day on your business. You might be working more, but it's your job. It's, you know, it's like you said, I think that's the most important thing to stress as well. It's like, you've got to work more in the earlier days because you're building it. So it's much more investment of your time and your energy in the earlier days. And then as you go on, hopefully, if you build it and you build it right, you may well be able to scale back your time and investment and attention because you've built something that doesn't require as much of that, which is the ultimate goal, isn't it, for everybody, I think?
Oh, God, yeah. And also, if you're investing that money wisely and saving it correctly and things like that, you know, I'm now in a position where the last few months has been ongoing and, you know, nothing's set in stone and some things are a little bit on pause at the moment. But there's been 2 potential businesses I'm looking to buy shares into, but pretty much as a silent shareholder. Mm-hmm. So that's when it becomes relatively passive, right? Is you now just invest your profits into other businesses that need that cash injection for 1% of that company. And that's where, if you're a silent shareholder kind of thing or a silent director, you literally start, when that business starts then growing and making money, you get a percent of that profit for doing nothing. So again, there's all these opportunities that you, if you grow it the right way. And I've not bought. There's been 2 opportunities we're back and forth on, and we've negotiating, and one of them's on pause at the moment for various reasons. But there's potentially 2 really exciting businesses I'm going to be buying into by the end of this year that don't need me to do anything other than just give them a cash injection. So like 19-year-old me, like, never saw any of this happening, and certainly the first few years was not like this. It was bloody hard, but the foundations have been set now, and this is what I want to teach other people, and I teach it in a way where you can avoid years worth of the mistakes I made. But there's no getting away from it. Isn't a magic wand. You do absolutely have to make this a priority. You have to decide to commit, and you have to have patience and be willing to put in effort for a long time till you get anywhere near really substantial results. But in the long, it's that mindset, isn't it, that we speak about with goal setting, which is most people overestimate what they can achieve in a year, but they underestimate what they can achieve in 10 years. It's that most people are like, oh, I just need it by the end of this year. I just want it now. And because they have that mindset, they never stick it out long enough for it to become strong. Whereas if you play the longer game and think just one solid year of working hard and consistently building it on it, rather than shiny penny syndrome and starting different stuff and trying to just focus on one for long enough, compounded over year 2, year 3, can get to that sort of position where your whole life changes ultimately.
Amazing. Is there any more comments or anything like that? Do you want me to go into my final question?
Carol says, so true, Helen, but I've not let you speak for about an hour, so I've got no idea what she's referring to. And that's it. If anyone's got any questions just while we're on, we're probably going to be on for a few minutes and then we're gone. Whether you're on TikTok, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. Actually, I should bring up LinkedIn because I don't know if there is any. I don't. There might be questions over there. I just can't see. But anyway, yeah, go to the final question.
Okay, so I want to talk about something you just touched upon at the end of that last answer that you gave, which was about making mistakes, because I think this is something that people struggle with a lot. How can we, obviously mistakes are going to be an inevitable part of a journey, aren't they? You're starting something from scratch. You've never done it before. Mistakes are likely. How can we respond better to making mistakes? How can we be kinder to ourselves when we do?
Just laugh at yourself. Just be like, oh, here we go again. Fucked it again. And I'm like, because I certainly do that. I'm like, you fucking dick. Look at that. Why was you thinking that would work after all these years? Because you're not, like, I spoke about it on the live video I did this morning, and I gave all these quotes of like really famous people that talk about the reason they're successful is because they've failed more than most people are willing to fail. I spoke about how I believe Stephen Bartlett has an actual team of people he employs. I can't remember the exact title of that team, but it's something like the Failure Squad or the Failure Team, where their sole job title is how can we fail today kind of thing. Obviously, the point is, it's not just let's be shit. It's about what's the big, bold stuff that no one's ever tried before.
Yeah.
And let's push on that. And with the awareness that it's new and it probably will go wrong, but the quicker we fail, the quicker we learn. And the quicker we learn, the quicker we improve and the quicker we succeed. So it's just really appreciating mistakes, failures, ideas that sounded great but ended up being terrible is absolutely inevitable, I believe. There's no getting away from it. So if you can just actually embrace that and go, okay, that's just factual. Anyone who succeeded had a load of mistakes, failures, and failed attempts, whatever. Just logically understand that, and then emotionally and mentally just be like, brilliant. All right, what have I learned here then? Like, let's have a laugh about it, and then let's dive into. It's that cliche thing that failure is feedback, but it actually is. It's the best feedback. Because theory and books and conversations and thinking about thinking and overthinking stuff will never give you the feedback that taking action will.
Yeah.
And just having that experience of going, oh my God, I really thought, and the book said, and the strategy said, and my friend said that would work, but I tried it and it didn't. But now I can see it's because we weren't aware of that or the timing or and it's because you've done it and failed that you now know how to improve and potentially succeed. So just having that awareness of going, not only is it okay to fail, which is the first thing people need to hear, but it's inevitable and it's frigging useful.
Yeah.
I've heard Ed Sheeran speak about it. I've heard all these kind of famous people, pop stars, going, you learn nothing from success. Success teaches you nothing. Failure is where the lessons are. You learn everything from failure. That's literally what Ed Sheeran said. And look at how successful he's been. So it's just about reiterating and reminding yourself of that, and then being able to go, well, then, as Will Smith said, fail often, fail fast, fail forward. Like, the sooner you can just take action and give stuff a shot, the sooner you will fail. But the upside of that is now you're more equipped, experienced, knowledgeable, and aware to make better informed decisions. With the knowledge, you'll still fail as well. So that's the best advice I can offer, really, is embrace failure, laugh at it, enjoy it, and most importantly, learn from it.
I love that. And it's definitely something I've learned through working closely with you, is that the way you respond to failure, and obviously you've been my coach as well, so a lesson that always stays in mind for me was something that you taught me, which I think is like NLP, which is to try and stay on a kind of level emotional playing field and not let the highs get too high and not let the lows get too low, kind of thing, and try to keep things more balanced. And that's definitely something I see with you and has been really valuable to me to learn, because you don't dwell. That's one thing I will say that I've noticed massively with you. If things aren't going your way, you'll acknowledge it and then you move on. You don't dwell. You don't stay in that emotion. You don't let it take hold. And that's something that I've always been very guilty of. And I think it's been massively important for me to see that doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to sit in that emotion. And I actually had a conversation with somebody yesterday who had reached out to me for a bit of like advice. And I said exactly that to that person. I said, like, I think what you've got to do is try to keep that, you know, instead of when something's going your way, being like, yes, this is amazing, I'm the best person ever. And then when they're not, going down that low, that you're that sad and that, like, try to just manage it a little bit better. Celebrate the wins, acknowledge the, you know, the things that don't go too well, but really try not to let it get to this polarized place of like extremes.
That's excellent advice, and you're so true. And I want to just double back on, I'm not naturally that person either. I am an extreme person. Anyone that knows me, my background is performing, being on stage. The highs are high, the lows are bloody low, let me tell you. But it's a learned skill set and it's a learned behavior over decades of studying this stuff now. And it's also real appreciation and gratitude for life. And I know that sounds really like over the top and wanky, but really fucking is. Like, the older I get and the more I do this kind of self-development work, if you want to call it that, it's like just going, but geez, we're so lucky to still be alive and to be here and have opportunity. God, I can't be asked fucking dwelling and being down. Yeah, that's shit. Yeah, I didn't want that to happen. That hasn't gone to plan, but I won't allow myself to stay there.
No, you don't.
And I think what you said there about the advice you gave to that person, I would just add to that as well about, you know, this might sound controversial, but it's how we talk about mental models, right? So it's about what's the mindset approach to these kind of things. And the ones that I would recommend to people is blame yourself for everything. Completely and utterly. Don't spend a second blaming anyone else. Look within and go, where am I wrong? Where have I fucked up? Where have I made mistakes? Where could I have been better? How could I have communicated more effectively? How could my energy have been better? How could I be more honest? How could I be more authentic? Whatever it is, blame yourself. Because if you pass the blame, you pass the power. You give the power to everybody else that you're blaming, to the government, to the weather, to your employer, to your friends. You give them the power because you say they're the problem. Therefore, they're the ones that have to change. If you take back the blame, even if some of that other stuff's valid, it doesn't matter. Just don't focus on it, because you can't control other people.
That's the big point there. You can blame them, but you can't change it. You can only change you, can't you? So
that's it. And that's one thing that I've, has been, again, learned skill that doesn't come naturally, because it's naturally we all want to not be in the wrong, and it feels nicer to know it's somebody else's fault, but it's not useful. It's not where growth happens. It's not where self-improvement and results happen. So yeah, this is the stuff that you have to double down on and get really good at if you want better results. You can't dwell, and we want to dwell. Again, it feels nicer to dwell, but again, what do I say? Like, put action on a pedestal, not emotion. Just because it feels good, like it feels good to lie in, it feels good to eat chocolate and drink wine, it feels good, skipping the gym. Just because it feels good doesn't mean it's best for you.
You just described my day today.
Sorry. I feel guilty all day now.
The exception, not the real though, isn't it? It's the exception.
It is, and that's the nuance that I teach when we're going more in depth on these subjects.
Yeah.
But just as a general thing to give people is, I think people put their feelings on a pedestal too much. Generally, there's too much time going, oh, but I feel tired, or I don't feel motivated, or I don't feel. Coming back to a point you made earlier as well, which you touched upon, which is when you're running your own business, show up at least with the effort and the energy of you would for your shift, for your job that day. Because this is another mistake people make with a business, is if a boss said, get your ass to work, I don't care that you're hungover or that you're running late, get here now, be a professional and do your job. People would do that for their £7 an hour or whatever it is. But when it's their business, which offers them the opportunity to build a new life and completely drastically change their circumstances, and they're hungover or they're tired or they're demotivated, or I'm just not in the right energy to go live today, I just don't feel it'll be authentic energy being on my live, fucking get on the live. Your job to get on the live if you're building a personal brand, to connect with your audience. What are you fucking on about your energy? Sort your energy out then. Be a professional. Get on with it. And I think that is, again, a big mistake. People are just, feelings. Yes, caveat, nuance. To some degree, we should acknowledge our feelings. Some things we go through in life, we need to deal with those feelings, process those feelings. I'm not just saying be feelingless. What I'm saying is self-audit, self-reflect is one of the reasons you're not where you want to be in your life, because you put your feelings on a pedestal maybe a little bit too much. And we need to reverse that and actually go, do you know what? I don't feel like going to the gym. I don't feel like doing the live today, or feel like growing my business today. But it's what's necessary to get the result that I want. And what happens is when we take the action in respect of feelings, guess what? The feelings bloody change anyway, because it actually feels good to push yourself to do something you should have been doing, to not procrastinate, to get some momentum and get the endorphins flowing or whatever. So putting the feelings on such a bloody pedestal is the reason you're not able to feel better by default. Because if you just ignored the feelings, took the action, your feelings would change anyway a lot of the time. So yeah, again, massive tangent, but hopefully within that, a couple of things people can take away.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's an awful lot of value in these conversations and things to consider. I think it's really important to talk about them.
Over on Facebook, we got Wayne saying, I've actually trained my mindset successfully around this. I always used to cry over spilt milk, but now I don't. They're like, do you mean actually spilt milk? So that's interesting. I know it's a saying. I just remind myself that dwelling on stuff that goes wrong is pointless. Yeah, man, I'm exactly with Wayne. Like, that's always been me. I've always been the one to, I'll give you a really quick one, actually. I was in, I don't know if a car crash is too dramatic of a sentence, but I crashed my car, so let's say that, on a motorway, and I span round and hit one side of the motorway and then hit the other way and bounced around, whatever. When I was about 17, like, I just recently passed my test, and it was a really interesting thing to observe, and I'm sure other people will relate with this. In that moment, while I'm behind the wheel and the car is spinning, and bang, we hit the central reservation, and then we spin some more, and bang, we hit the other side. And I'm literally thinking, I am in a car crash now, and at any point a lorry could take me out. This is really serious. It is the calmest, most present, most focused I've ever been. Yeah. There was no hysteria and panic and wheel flying everywhere. There was just focus on surviving. Yeah. Very simple. If I stubbed my toe, on the other hand, Fucking hell, you're gonna know about it. You bastard! Fucking all that kind of stuff, right? So I learned this about myself, okay? Which is the small, silly things in life. It's so easy to be dramatic about, and that is at the heart of me how I've always responded to stuff. But then I learned, just like Wayne saying there about the spilt milk, it's not useful screaming and shouting just because you've stubbed your toe. Take a minute, feel your feelings, rub it a bit, and then let's crack on. Let's not waste time yelling. It's a silly example, but it is just to make the point that it's a learned skill. We all have those impulses, those instincts to respond a certain way, but we can also learn behavioral patterns and changes in patterns to make decisions that serve us better and respond better ultimately. There we go. Anything you'd like to say, Helen, just to finish off?
No, just thank you everyone for being here and joining us, and I hope everybody has an absolutely amazing Easter weekend.
And hopefully these statistics you're going to remember when it comes to being scared about online businesses, because again, just coming back to that image there, most of you, that voted last night, 71 people thought 50% of businesses fail in the first year. 16 of you thought 25% of businesses fail in the first year. 4 of you thought 12% of businesses fail in the first year. And none of you thought that it's just 7% of businesses that fail in the first year. And actually, the most up-to-date statistics and articles out there suggest it's just around 7%, which means 93% of new businesses are still trading a year later. So just be mindful of these outdated, old school narratives that are not accurate to today's modern world. Just a reminder, we are doing a free webinar Monday, the 28th of April, 7 p.m. UK time, all about helping you start your online business. I'm going to be showing you exactly what I've done, what I do, and what I've helped other people to do for free. And then at the end of the session, I'll also be launching, we do this just once a year, we'll be launching the 2025 intake of my program, Online Business Mastery. If you want to come along to that free webinar, if you want to get some help for free and join in the Q&A, and if you want to hear a little bit more about my paid program, that is the night, Monday, the 28th of April, that you need to be on the webinar. Drop me a message now. Just drop me a DM. If you're not already signed up for that webinar, I'll send you the link. We'll get you signed up, and then I'll see you there on Monday, the 28th. But thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope you found this useful. Thank you, Helen, as always. I hope you all have an amazing Easter weekend, and we'll see you soon. Thanks so much, Helen.